Hello, this is Paulet Downey, and I am back again with a makeup minute. So, I'm going to talk about my favorite supporting makeup product. Um, yeah, my favorite supporting makeup product. So, that would be the primer. The primer um, in my opinion, is the most important supporting makeup product. Now, let me give you a little history on the primer and exactly its origins. So there are a couple of gentlemen by the name of Dean and Davis Factor. They are the great great grandsons of the legendary Max Factor. So when they created their cosmetic, their makeup brand in the 90s, the primer was one of the few makeup products that they created. And so, I mean, that was the birth of primer for makeup. And it seems like nothing. Like it just seems like a nothing. But it is by far the most important thing that you are going to need before applying anything else on your face. And it is such an important product for you. It makes a difference. It makes or breaks how your skin looks. It really does. And I am going to actually go into that. And so, like I said, started off in the 90s, and then from there, it became like a success. And then other brands, of course, started making it as well. And like Smashbox, Smash, because those are the grandsons. I mean, those grandsons, they created um, the. The cosmetic brand Smashbox, and that's where primers, first were that they were the ones who created primers. And so I know with them they have, and not only them but quite a few brands actually right now. But I mean, since I'm talking about the founders of primers, I feel like I can just talk about exactly what type of primers they have. So they have primers for normal skin. They have primers for dry skin. They have primers for oily skin. Primers for radiance. They have for radiance as well as complexion. So they have color correct primers as well. And it seems just like a little bit of silicone you're just kind of putting over your face, and it doesn't really seem like it's really doing a lot. But in actual fact, it really makes or breaks how your makeup looks and the performance of your makeup after wearing it. So I remember, before I actually really go into explaining the importance of a primer, I remember when I first started off in the beauty industry. So when I first started off in the beauty industry, and of course, like I went on my training. So I went on my Smashbox training. I was given, like a couple of primers. I was given the original one. Actually, I had the one for regular skin, as well as the one for dry skin. So, and it was more of a hydration, like it's a hydration primer. And so, of course, I wore them because, like quite honestly, they felt good and they look good on. I find that primers, you can even wear primers alone. Like they look absolutely fabulous. So like I wore them, and then of course I applied my makeup on afterwards. But even though it was explained to me, because remember, this is my entry into the beauty world. So even though it was explained to me as to the purpose of a primer, I didn't really believe it. I just thought it was just another way of making money from the customers. I'm going to be honest with you. That's exactly what I thought. So I would wear the primer. Before applying my makeup on. So one day, and I'm sure this happens to probably all of you or many of you who wear makeup, there are days where you miss a step. Now, it hasn't happened often, but there were times when applying makeup on my skin, I missed a step. A, because I'm rushing. I woke up late and I'm rushing. And so I'm applying my makeup on. I'm just trying to, like get my makeup on and get out of the house as quickly as possible so that I'm not late for work. Or B, I have plenty of time. I'm applying my makeup, but my thoughts are elsewhere. So my thoughts are elsewhere, and I'm just applying my makeup mechanically because it's just something, like it's something that I know how to do. I know how to apply makeup. It's not anything difficult. So I'm just applying it mechanically, but my thoughts are elsewhere. So as a result, I missed a step. So that happened to me one day when I actually was putting my makeup on and I forgot to put my primer on. And so what ended up happening, so of course, I leave my place and, off to work. And when I get to work, I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed a step. I forgot to put my primer on. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be, excuse me, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be good. My makeup should be fine. So as the hours go on and I look at my face and I look like I'm completely worn out. So my face, it looked almost as if, almost as if water had been splashed on it. And then it was just kind of like rolling down. Like it was a pretty, I didn't look as fresh as I normally would. But it just didn't look good. Like I looked dull, like my complexion looked dull, the makeup looked dull, and it looked very faded. So by the time, I think something like 12, 13 hours when it was time for me to wash it off, it was like half of it seemed like it was almost gone. Like everything was there. I could see all the makeup that I applied still on my face, but it wasn't fully on my face. Like it seemed as if I could see that a lot of it had faded. So I said, okay. Like I realized that that was because I was not wearing my primer. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to actually have a little fun with this and I'm going to test this to see if this really is true or if this is just kind of like a one-off. So the next day, of course, I put on my makeup and I put my primer on. So I make sure to put my primer on and then I put my makeup on and then, like I have my whole 12 hours or whatever, 14 hours I'm wearing my makeup. And of course, when I was ready to take my makeup off late in the evening, my makeup looked just as good at 10, 11 o'clock as it did when I applied it around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So it looked the same. So then probably a week later, I said, I'm going to test this. And so then I deliberately didn't wear my primer. And it turned out that the same thing that happened to me the first time with my makeup, from not applying my primer, like, accidentally forgetting to apply it, the same thing happened to me when I deliberately did not apply my primer. So the exact same thing happened to my makeup. It was, like faded. It was like it was washed off when the 11, 12 hours came. And then I realized the power of the primer. So I realized the power of the primer. And once I realized the power of the primer, I sold that baby like left, right, and center because I knew what it was worth and I knew its usefulness and, basically how it should be used. So once I discovered that, it was like, okay, now I can sell this because whereas before I wouldn't sell it as much, I wouldn't push it as much, simply because I really, even though it was explained to me, I really didn't believe it. But because I experienced it personally, I now had a frame of reference and I was able to see the benefits and the reasons as to why a primer is the most important supporting cosmetic in your makeup bag. It is by far the most important. So now let me explain to you why it is the most important. So first of all, like after you apply your sunscreen, you're going to apply your sunscreen. So that's part of your skincare program. So then once we move into applying our makeup, the first thing we're going to put on for our makeup is a primer. Now, the reason why the primer is so important is because and so this is primer for your face. You know, there are primers for your face. There are primers for your eye, like your eyelids, and just under the brow bone. So you have a primer for that. There's also a primer, like a lip primer as well, and they all work the same. They all work the same. The purpose is the same. So one of the most important reason is it acts as an adhesive for the makeup, like all the makeup that you apply on your face afterward. So it actually, when you apply makeup onto your skin afterwards, the makeup actually sticks, like it actually stays on the face. It doesn't move from the face. And so that is one of the main reasons why you want or why you should be using a primer, is because you want your makeup to not fade off and look dull. So that's one of the reasons. So you're going to apply makeup, you're wearing your makeup for 10, 12 hours. You want to look as good when you apply it at 7 o'clock in the morning, or you want to look as good 10 o'clock in the evening as you did when you applied at 7 o'clock in the morning. So you want your makeup to perform at that same level. So you want that. And a primer will give you that. You will get that from the primer. You get the right primer and it's going to give you lasting results, like longevity. It will be as if you just applied your makeup, because that's what I've experienced. When applying makeup at 7 o'clock in the morning, 10, 11 o'clock in the evening, my makeup looks the same. Like it looks absolutely the same. Like I don't have to do touch-ups, no touch-ups for shadow or blush or none of that. I have never had a need to do touch-ups for makeup when wearing a primer. So that is one of the main reasons, because it works as an adhesive. It is going to cling on to the makeup that you apply onto your face afterwards. The second reason is the pigment. So all of the pigment and how it grabs on to the pigment of the makeup that you're applying onto your skin. So the pigment color. So that is the second reason. When using a primer, and then after applying your makeup onto that primer or onto your skin, with the primer under it, the makeup, the pigmentation of the makeup remains the same. Like the coloring of the pigmentation remains exactly the same. If not, it even brings more. It even becomes more vibrant and more radiant when you put the makeup on after having a primer on your skin. So the true color of whatever makeup you're applying, be it eyeshadow, blush, the true color, the true pigment, that it is, will show up on your skin. And not only will it show up, but it will become very vibrant. It's actually like it's just making the color even more vibrant than what it is when it's in the palette, or in the palette in the palette. It's amazing. And another way where you can test this and see, this is like, once I discovered the power of the primer and its need and the importance of it. So once I discovered that, like I said, I really started selling those babies. And what I did after that, simply because I knew, so I had to convince people, because it wasn't just a matter of me giving lip service. I actually had to prove to them and show them exactly, why they should invest in a primer. So I know many people probably knew for the first one that it does, like it does hold on to your makeup. But a lot of people don't know that the second reason, and a very important reason, is that it maintains the original color of the makeup that you purchased. So if it is, say, for example, a peach, a peach blush or coral blush, just, like I'll throw it a couple. Um, Once you have the primer on your skin, and then you apply the blush to your skin, to the cheek area, the color that it is, it's going to go on your cheek the exact same. Like the color will match what it is on your skin. Whereas if you don't use a primer, if you do not use a primer, um, it's going to still come out like a coral or a pink or a brown, like whatever color it is that you are, adding to the cheek area. But it's going to be a more faded version of what the actual color is. So, how I do this, and this is something that I would recommend for you out there when you are purchasing a primer for your eyes, or a primer for your face, or even one for your lips, is you're going to take your hand and you're going to get the primer and you're going to put it on an area of your hand, of the, like the back of your hand. So you put it on an area of your hand, and then you would leave an area of your hand completely free of the primer. So I like to do this with, you can do it with anything, but I do like to do it with eyeshadow. I think the eyeshadow probably is the most, powerful, simply because like there's iridescent blushes out there as well. But because of all of the different types of eyeshadows out there, I think it is probably one of the most, or the strongest, strongest examples to use, simply because of all of the coloring. So you could get like the dullest gray, like an eyeshadow, eyeshadow color. Like get the dullest gray, dull, and then put, say for example, apply that dull gray shadow onto the area first. You apply it onto the area that has no primer, that you applied no primer on your hand. And then, get another, get some more of the shadow, and then apply it on the section where you did actually apply primer. You will see the difference. Even that dull gray will come out radiant. You will see the full pigment on your hand, on the area where the primer is. It will match what is in the palette, what is in the eyeshadow palette. But when you look at the side that has no primer, you will see how dull and how washed out. Yes, it will look gray, but it will be a very kind of like washed out, faded version of what is in the palette. Whereas the one that was applied on top of the primer will come out identical to that which is in the palette, and it will almost be like there's a radiance and a vibrancy to it, that may even outshine the color that is in the eyeshadow palette. So when I would show that to customers, they would buy the primer, because that's how big of a difference it is between wearing a primer and not wearing a primer. And so the primer, like I said, is working as an adhesive for all of the makeup that you apply onto it afterwards. It's going to hold that makeup in place for as long as you have it on. And second of all, it is going to show up on your skin the same as it is in the palette. So the same way that it is showing up in the palette, it is going to show up on your skin. And the same for the lipstick ones, same for the lip primers as well. If because with the lip primers, of course, they're a little different simply because of the creaminess. And then the lipstick, of course, there's a creaminess as well. But still, same principle, exact same principle. If you apply the lipstick on the area where you don't put the lip primer, and then you apply it on the area where you have applied the lip primer, you're going to see two different colors. Like, to see it on your hand, they look like they're not even the same color. Like, that's the power. That's the power of a primer. That's the power of it. That it will look like two different shadows, two different lip colors, two different blushes when they are the same. But because the primer is grabbing on to the color, it's grabbing on to the powder, it's grabbing on to the cream, whatever you're applying to the skin, it's grabbing it. And it is taking it, it is keeping it in its natural form. So it's really quite amazing. So the primer is by far the most important supporting makeup product that you need in order for your makeup to stay on longer and get the full color of the product that you were purchasing. So I know, like, there's the Fix It, there's the Fix It spray, and I mean, those are good as well. I'm not gonna try and downplay them in any way, but and they are good. No, they are good. Like, they hold your makeup in place. There is power in the Fix It spray, but unlike the primer, the Fix It spray does not hold on to the color, because the Fix It spray is applied to your skin after you've applied all of your makeup. So the primer you are putting on your skin prior to putting on your makeup. So then it has a chance to grab on to all the makeup that you're applying to your skin afterwards. Whereas the Fix It spray is holding in place everything that is sitting on your face. So it's holding it in place, but it doesn't have the ability to keep the color. So if you apply, if you don't have a primer and you put all your makeup on and then you put on the Fix It spray, it's not going to have that ability to maintain the pigment of the natural color, because what's happened is when you've applied the makeup on your face without the primer, you've applied a faded version of the makeup. So the second that so if you don't have any primer, everything that you apply on your face afterwards is a faded version of the makeup that you're applying to your skin. So you're not getting the full impact of color that is in the palette. That's in the palette. You're not getting that. You're not receiving that. So that's not on your face. So the Fix It spray can only maintain what is already on your face. Like, it can't bring that color that is in the palette to life. Like, it can't do that. It can only maintain what is already on your face. And so if you have a faded version of makeup on your face, it can only hold that. Like, it can only keep that. Whereas applying a primer on your face first, it is going to grab on to all of the makeup that you apply onto your skin, and it is going to keep the color, the original color of what you are applying onto your skin. So that you have not only is the makeup being held in place, but the vibrancy of the color that you're applying stays true to what it is that you purchased. So you say you buy like a coral blush, you buy a coral blush, and it's very bright, and like it's got that nice, like it's vibrant. And with the primer, it's going to keep that exact coloring, but without the primer, you're going to get a faded version of that coral blush. So that's the importance of the primer, and that's why it is the most important supporting makeup makeup product out there. And you're going to buy one for your face, and you're not going to use the one for your face for your eyes. It doesn't work like that. It really, really doesn't. So you would need one for your eyes. So you need one for your face, one for your eyes, and then you would need one for your lips, of course, because the lips are different, and it's holding on lipstick, so it needs to be a different consistency and chemistry in order for it to work effectively. So basically, that is it for the primer, and hopefully I'll be coming back with a skincare minute. But it's just, I'm keep on thinking of makeup. Like I started with the lipstick, and I'm just on a little roll here. I just say just makeup, because like I do have the experience with this as well. So I will be back with a skincare minute. It's just, as the makeup comes to mind, I do feel the need to talk on it. So that's it. For a makeup minute, and until I talk with you again, until I see you again, take care.